Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Convos Cultural Update. I've got an exciting one for you today, as I'm going to sit down with another past Convos performer just to check in, Mr. Gabriel Royal. Gabriel is a classically trained cellist who really got his start busking in the subways of New York City and began composing songs that combine the expressive power of classical music with the lyricism that resembles some of the great pop music songwriters of the day. His vocals over cello style could most certainly be labeled as modern chamber pop. I first experienced Gabriel live in January of 2018 at a small bar showcase in New York City while attending the Association of Performing Arts Professionals conference. What initially stood out to me was the clear melding of his musical influences and the cross-genre blend that made his style so unique. I am always inspired and personally love artists whose art goes beyond a singular style or genre. Once his cool and comfortable personality was laid on top of that, I knew he was someone that could work at Purdue and would likely connect to a broad and eclectic audience. So in November of 2018, we presented Gabriel as part of our Outreach Artist in Residence program. Over 2 days, we presented him in different settings on campus and in the community. This included free performances at Grey House Coffee's Ristretto Room, the Purdue Memorial Union, Ford Dining Court, and the residency closing performance at the 1869 Tap Room. You all ate up the performances, and there were even some of you that came back multiple times over the course of the 2 days he was here. Gabriel's charismatic performance clearly spoke to you all, so we thought it would be a great cultural update just to check in with him. Gabriel, thanks for being with us here today. What's happening?
Pleasure's all mine. What's happening is I'm chilling in Tulsa, Oklahoma, at my homie's house because of COVID. I've moved from New York. But I'm doing good. All things considered. I don't know how deep you want me to go into the answer to that question. Dealing with mental health, struggling with depression, thoughts of loss, but I'm making it. I'm healthy. Got a roof over my head. I've been eating good. So.
Well, that's good. That's I've actually said to myself and to some other people that the one thing I can always be thankful for, at least at the moment, is that I'm healthy and that my family's healthy.
Right. We're just sitting here talking about my career's gone and all this stuff. I'm like, what? People are dead out here, for real. So be thankful for what you got. And so I'm good.
Well, good. You said that you've moved from New York. Did you just relocate for quarantining, or are you now?
I relocated because of quarantine, because I was like, I don't want to be in the epicenter of the disease, the virus. And I'm from Oklahoma, and my roommate, we had a 3-bedroom apartment, and my roommate, who was from North Carolina, he left March 12th, and he wasn't planning on coming back, so we were already dealing with that situation. And then a week and a half ago, my other roommate called me and told me that he's gonna move out because he doesn't know what we're still having to pay rent. They didn't forgive.
Sure.
They said they were supposed to, but it's kind of it was just too much. It was too much money, and my whole income's been shot to an eighth of what I was making. So I was making the bulk of my money traveling and playing shows. And now that's canceled at least till 2021 November. So, I couldn't afford my apartment and playing in the subway, which was how I supplemented my teaching income when I wasn't, before I started playing.
Right.
Nobody's in the subway anymore. It's like a petri dish down there. It's like this, and think about singing loud and breathing deep. Just feels like I'd be putting myself at too much risk.
Sure.
So, I'm still teaching remotely for Jersey City here in Tulsa, because we're doing live videos every Tuesday and a recorded video on Saturdays. So but that's my only source of income right now, and that's about to be over in the next 2 weeks. So I'm gonna have to. So I'm struggling, but it's hard out here for musicians right now.
Absolutely. And what kind of teaching are you doing?
Music. I taught a pop choir class, which has turned into a recording class because, you know, the remote thing. So I've been teaching like a GarageBand tutorial, just making beats and, you know, showing kids how to construct their own songs. So it's been that part's actually been kind of fun. You know, like it's a whole different teaching style when you have a kid on screen as opposed in class, because, you know, kids will act up in class. You know, they got each other there being knuckleheads, like I'm poking each other and stuff, but online, you know, they're listening and I'm giving the information. It's like either you get it or you don't. Okay, I'm putting this buffet of knowledge before you. It's up to you to get it. In class, you deal with the whole social aspect.
Sure.
So I've been enjoying that part of it, but you know, the kids miss school too. You know, it's crazy. Like we missed you, Mr. Royal. And I was like, that's not what you were saying 2 months ago. 2 months ago, I was having to like beg you guys to, you know, to learn the song. So it's you know, everybody's evolving, everybody's making changes, everybody's making an effort to adapt. So
right. I know that at Purdue, when we made the shift to online classes, you know, which was immediately following spring break for us. So it was that third week.
Yeah, when was that?
Yeah, so they, I anticipated that it would be an easier transition for students because realistically they've been living their lives online since they were, you know, basically old enough to hold a phone. But it has definitely been a transition, and you know, some of the student organizations on campus that I advise, the feedback has been that they are definitely missing the interpersonal, you know, interaction with people.
There's something lost. And, you know, like as much as I'm complaining or saying that I like the remote teaching, I still miss the kids too. I miss being in the classroom. I mean, to be quite blunt, I feel like this was a wasted semester for a lot of the kids, you know, because half of the kids we deal with in this Jersey City school don't have computers at home, or they're just on their phones, you know, which that's hard to learn on, you know.
Sure.
There's so many things going on with it. And the kids who do have computers, you know, you can't fail a kid. They have to keep the grade that they had when they were in school, okay? So if you had an A, technically you don't have to do any more work. You know, so if you can raise your grade. If you had an F or a D or a C or something, and you want to raise it, you can do all the work. But if you had an A, you're set, you know? So it's put a lot of personal responsibility onto the students. And I fear to know what the actual statistics are of who was really doing daily work. So it's about that authority figure in front of you that you have to, you know, it just makes you kind of step up to the plate. So
let me ask you this: with you noted that you've had a number of gigs and performances canceled, which is
indeed,
which is clearly an unfortunate side effect of what we're dealing with, and you know, we don't know what the future holds.
No.
When we'll be able to congregate in a theater again, and obviously the pandemic in the world isn't the only thing that we're all dealing with, you know, at the moment. So, you know, with all the unknown and unrest in the world, you know, how do you cope? You know, how do the current events, like what's happening in our country right now, you know, how do those influence your creative process?
Okay, so number one, I feel the positive thing that have happened is, at least in Oklahoma, the social distancing has been more like social selectiveness now. Like, I'm not going out to the bars and eating out and stuff. I'm still doing like takeout. But I've seen a couple of friends. I've had friends over, like one at a time, two at a time. And I've seen friends that I haven't spent quality time with in like 15 years. Like my good friend TJ Haverkamp. He's on the way over right now. If I hadn't blown the fuse downstairs, we'd be able to make music. Okay, but this is a guy who I've known since elementary school. We've been in bands together. He played a show with me. I've been playing here at this jazz club Duet here in town the day after Thanksgiving, the Friday after Thanksgiving. and he played with me last year. But we only got to see each other, 4 days rehearsing, then playing the show, and then I'm out. So like we've been making music on a weekly basis. And I think the music the process is that I'm back home and there's a lot more space. So there are some hidden gems here. I've got, I'm in a 2-story house right now. We got the basement downstairs with all the equipment set up. There's a patio out back. So this was one of the reasons I left New York, was because I knew that in this time of quarantine, it's like, could I go spend some quality time back in my hometown and actually be able to take a jog on Riverside? So I've connected with friends. I've reconnected with, through COVID, I've reconnected with old lifelong friends, and we've been making music together. So I think that's my therapy, has just been writing songs. Like I take time out to be creative, and you got a lot more time nowadays too. So
Sure.
I think we're learning a lot of weird things about watching the seasons change, like sitting on the porch, taking the time out that you don't have, waking up at 5 a.m. and watching a movie, going back to sleep at 8 a.m. Like we don't know what the days are. Like I've been operating on no schedule. So like it's kind of, there's a lot of self-searching going on, a lot of soul searching, a lot of self-discovery. So I mean, as much as it's sad, because essentially I think moving back, if I had tried to stay in New York, first of all, I'd be in a lot more debt, but like a part of me wanted to do that fight. So personally, I've been kind of depressed about those things, getting through it. I feel like I'm answering 5 different questions here, but
not at all. You're doing great.
What I remember is how I'm coping and how that's affected my process, because how I'm coping is a daily daily. It might be watching a movie, might be watching The Never-Ending Story or The Last Unicorn to calm my troubled soul, or taking a walk, cooking. I've been cooking too. I just made like gumbo, red beans and rice, fried catfish with some friends in Oklahoma City the other. It was like a southern, it was like 6 of us. So, we social distanced selectively. So, coping's a daily struggle,
right?
But I feel like I'm doing okay.
Well, it sounds like from what you said, one thing, and I fully agree that one thing that this quarantine, whether it is required or it's self-quarantine, has afforded everyone is more time to see people and connect, and can lend yourself more time to be creative and to make more music, and whether that's by yourself or with other people, like you just noted. I've actually joked with some other people that, whenever we come out of this, whatever that looks like, there could be like a huge influx in new music that shows up, where these songwriters of all styles have been cooped up in their homes with their instruments, and
the COVID albums are gonna drop. Is what you're saying?
Exactly, and it could be volumes.
I've been trying to avoid writing COVID-themed songs, and I don't know if it's not because I'm trying to hide what's happening, but I just think it's kind of like corny. Hey, yo, it's the COVID jam. Everybody put your mic in the head. Yo, I've been indoors for like 60 days. I'm losing my mind.
I'm always curious to point our audiences to events that you might be doing, whether those be streaming events, ways that they might be able to check out what you're doing, support you in some way and fashion.
Well, always
you've got happening.
Always with Spotify. If you just listen to me on Spotify actually pays me. That people don't know that we get pennies per play, but it adds up. I've got nothing. A lot of artists hate Spotify because of the pennies per play, but I actually kind of like it because it's if I play a show or tell somebody to listen to it and they listen to it a lot, you get a bunch of you get spins, you get a check. It's a passive income every 2 weeks. Okay,
sure.
So listen on Spotify definitely, but I'm about to finish my Patreon account, and that's where I'm going to be releasing the new music that I have, because that's a way to pay track per track. Do you know about Patreon? It's
Yeah.
awesome. It's awesome way to like support artists and stuff. And I've always avoided it because, like, my brother, the way he promoted it was like people can sign up monthly to pay you, and like I don't like how that feels. I'd rather you pay me for the product when I make it. Okay, if I got a song and you want to listen to the song, we can come up with a price for you to pay, or whatever you want to give, type thing. And I think that's how I would like to work. And the streaming, the live shows and stuff, to me, the sound quality's not that good unless like you're a producer and you've got like your mic hooked up to your sound system. Like it, so I personally am not watching a lot of live performances, just because. So I've not planned on doing that, but I've had some requests for it. So I might, if the people need it, I will do a live show. But I'm kind of, I think the world's gonna open up eventually, and I think we're gonna make it through this. Ain't a storm that we haven't weathered yet. So I think it's hard to say that because that's probably sounds cliche, but it's true, and you got to listen to those things right now. Like there's gonna be a better day. Sun's gonna come up, and we will all cheers one time in public again. So,
amen to that. Amen to that.
I'm trying to stay positive, and most of the days have been good. But last week, I broke up with my girlfriend, sprained my ankle, and found out that my roommate was giving up our apartment. So it was a tough week. Like I was hobbling.
That's a couple of songs right there.
Yeah, right. I sprained my ankle. My baby left me, and I've got nowhere to sleep. I'm going down with depression. Okay, so last week was particularly hard, but I feel like I've been staying positive, and even with that, like I'm staying with an awesome roommate who she's kind of, we've been accountability buddies for each other.
Right.
Accountability buddies. If you ever, they're that lifeline that you call when you're ever about to do something stupid.
Of course.
But my friend and I were talking about, like, it's hard, okay? And sometimes you want to end it all. But that's when you call me and let's go get lunch. If you're feeling that bad, calm down, call me. Let's at least get a meal in you. Maybe a couple of mimosas after you have a good meal, your mental thought process is going to change. You're going to calm down. You're going to feel a little bit. And we can even go to your favorite restaurant. How about that? Just like that's your lifeline, your accountability buddy. You got to have somebody that when it seems dark, you give them a call. And it's hard to do that when you're depressed, because when you're depressed, you're like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to be around anybody. But that's when you need people. That's when you need a friend to be like, hey man, everything's okay. Okay, I got the sandwiches. I'm buying dinner. That's when you need somebody like, calm me down. So I've got a good accountability buddy over here, and it's crucial to keep up communication, because I feel like in week 4 of quarantine, everybody was Zooming and doing house party and like talking, and then in the like month and 4 weeks in there, everybody was like real down. It was like, yo, I don't even want to call my friends because I don't have anything new to say. It's like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? I don't know. Watch some more Netflix. Still wishing I could see my buddies. Still wishing. So we were trying real hard, and then like the weight just got to everybody, and now I feel like we're all kind of like coming back up again. But there was, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be depressed. And I think we feel guilty sometimes for letting the weight of the world hit us. But that's one thing I've been trying to work on with myself, is just like, it's okay to be sad. Don't let it cripple you. You can accept the emotion without it defeating you. And I think we feel guilty for not being stronger, or, you know, feel guilty for like not putting up that front, you know. But, you know, I've cried a couple of times and it wasn't over anything like emotional. I was watching Pixar movies. I watched The Good Dinosaur, and at the end of it, I was just bawled. I'm like, is it really that emotional, or am I just on edge right now? You know, is this movie that good, or am I somewhere emotionally where I'm like very fragile right now? So when I see something, it just, you know, the floodgates are open. I was listening to a Carole King song, Pierre. Are you familiar with that song?
Of course,
There once was a boy named Pierre who only would say, I don't care. I was riding back from Tahlequah with my lady at the time, and I just started like welling up. Okay, you know, I tried to hide it for a couple of minutes because she wasn't looking over at me. And then like I was like, why am I hiding this? Like just like tears, just listening to Pierre, which I'm pretty sure is a children's song, but it's gorgeous. It brought up memories like of New York and like friends and stuff, and I just like kind of broke down, man. So it was it's been rough times, and it's okay to be sensitive, and it's okay to like be on edge, because it's hard out here right now. So I mean, I hope I didn't talk too much, but that's kind of. I don't know.
Listen, we'll just cut that off at some point.
Yeah.
No, but genuinely,
that's the part where I say I cried, and I've been crying consistently.
Hey, I mean, it's a tough time right now. There's no doubt, and mental health is always important. But mental health is even more important right now, because there are people who are not fortunate enough to be quarantined with other people, or to be quarantined with people they really like. And I fully agree with what you're saying, that in those first couple of weeks, there was an influx in communication that was happening. Like people I hadn't talked to in a long time. Whether it was me instigating communication with them over text or FaceTime or something, or them, I had communication, and then all of a sudden I'm FaceTiming with someone I've never FaceTimed with in my life. Not because I don't like them, but it was just, I'd text them every once in a while, but for some reason, this like feeling of, just being by yourself or being just with one other person, all of a sudden you're feeling the desire to want to see other people.
You realize that it's not enough. I made a post. I was like, I don't think people realized how much they needed people until all this happened. Like there's this feeling of loss, and because of the unknown, the end of it, or like when things are, there's just like this is like back of the brain stress, this like a constant, like it's clawing at you. So like even when you're in times of relaxation, you still got fear of the unknown. That's just a weight on the brain, a weight on the heart.
Right.
So we're dealing with compound trauma. You know what I'm saying? Like we're getting it from all angles, and it doesn't hurt that the racial divide and the political divide right now. People out here dying, and y'all arguing over small stuff. The world is in a state of unrest right now, but I feel like I've always been very pragmatic in my assessment of the world, but I'm also optimistic. So I'm optimistically realist. I'm an optimistic realist. Like I hope for the best, but I look at what's actually happening. And I think people are being brought closer together, especially with all this racial stuff happening. You're seeing a lot, a unified demographic speaking out in outrage, across all colors and creeds and ages. So there's some unification that's coming. Things are coming to a boiling point. Things are coming to a head, and I have faith in humanity. Let me put it like that.
I wanted to thank you again for being here with us today, Gabriel. It was a real pleasure to see you and talk to you again.
Pleasure's all mine, man. Thank you for thinking of me. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And would you be willing and interested to perform a song for us today?
Yeah. I got a nice one for you guys.
Sweet. Well, again, thanks for being here with us, and take it away.
Okay, man. All right, let me go get my cello.
Oh, hey there. What's going on? Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for having me again. It means a lot. Can't wait to come back to Purdue. This is a song of mine called G Major Suite, and it is the first song on my album on Spotify. It's been a long time to find you. Now that I got you right here, tell me you love me like I do. Let's just make one thing this clear. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's been a long time to see you. Now that I got you this close, tell me you love me like I do. Say that you need me the most. Ooh, 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 oh, what a time to be young. In the days when the spring is sprung, for these are the times of our life. Behold, with the seeing eye, oh, oh, oh. Ooh, da, ba, ba. Oh, what a time to be glad. In spite of the feelings we had, for these are the days of our youth. Afraid when we see the truth. Oh, oh, oh. Hey, yeah. Once again, thank y'all for having me. My name is Gabriel Royal. If you want to support, hit me up at Gabriel-Royal Venmo, and same thing on PayPal. Listen to me on Spotify, and everybody be safe. Take your time, relax, holler at me.